Hey y'all, today I'm going to be doing what I hope will be a pretty light declutter of my entire makeup collection, most of which is actually pretty much in frame right now, although I know it's kind of jumbled together, and when we get into the meat of the video, I'll separate it out and we'll go category by category. But this is pretty much what's here. My hope is that I mostly have what I love, mostly love what I have, and mostly want to keep the stuff and move forward with it into 2021. But I'm just going to go through piece by piece and make sure. If you're new to my channel, then hello, my name is Hannah. I'm so glad you're here. I love beautiful things and I love makeup, but I don't want to have way more than I have capacity to actually use and love. So I try to keep an edited collection. And if that sounds good to you, I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. Now let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. I'm so excited to be wearing these nails for this video. They were handmade by my friend Orielle. Orielle also has a makeup YouTube channel, and I know that a lot of you guys already watch her. She's a delight to watch, and she's doing a beautiful job with this little business. I'll make sure to link both her YouTube channel and her Etsy shop in the description box down below. This one right here is my favorite. Before I clear the screen, I'm just going to give you a quick tour of what you're looking at so that you can kind of keep it in your mind palace as we move through. This box has my Complexion products in it, so some concealers, just a little bit of foundation, a powder, primers, and then there are more primers in this box underneath. I don't have that many primers. I have maybe 3 or 4, but they tend to kind of live, some of them on top of the vanity. So, you know, and this is true of powders too. Some of them were on top of my vanity. That's what's in this box. Some of them are in here, and then there's mascaras in here. And then some of them are in this box that I showed you before. This is my glitters. My lip products are in this little acrylic container and in this little acrylic container. And in the drawers here, I've got some eyeshadows and some lip glosses and some liners, lip liners and eyeliners. This is the box that has all of my cheek products in it, and this acrylic container has all of my eyeshadow palettes in it, and also my magnetic palettes of single eyeshadows. So that's everything. Let's actually start with eyeshadows. This is what the acrylic container looks like from above. And then I just took this big one out because I knew that the camera would just focus on the top of it and you wouldn't be able to see the whole thing. So this one usually sits in the very back and leans up against the wall. And then these ones all have a place. Wow, this acrylic container is really dirty. So I just decluttered my single eyeshadows across 2 videos, or I did like the brunt of the declutter in one video, and then I organized them in the second video. And so I know that I don't need to declutter them. So this is the square palette, and it's missing a couple of shades because I built a little palette. And then this is the palette of circular singles that I have. So I'm just going to set these aside because I know that I'm keeping them all. And these as well. And these are the rest of my palette. These are my pre-made palettes. Gosh, I don't know if any of them, Okay, I opened them all up because it's always fun to see what everything looks like, what all of the innards of the palettes look like when they're exposed. This is the Natasha Denona Gold palette, Natasha Denona Lila palette, Kaleidos Sci-Fi Green. This is the Alter Ego Artemis palette and the Alter Ego Daydream palette. This is the Flower Beauty Jungle Lights palette, the Persona Cosmetics Identity 2 palette, the Nabla Mini Nude palette, Cutie, Nude Cutie Nude, Nude Cutie, and the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. I think that for this video, I'm not going to be able to go by process of elimination for the entire video. I already know that it's going to be a long one. I'm relaxing into that. I'm not too worried about it being long. But I think that for many of my categories of makeup, I'm really just going to be kind of scanning and pulling out things that I feel prepared to declutter rather than doing like the deep, intensive like process of elimination thing. But for my eyeshadows, I feel like I can go, for my eyeshadow palettes, I feel like I can go by process of elimination because there are so few of them compared to like how many lipsticks I have, for example. So I definitely know I'm going to go through. Well, is that process of elimination or am I just going through? I am just decluttering. Okay, I am definitely going to keep the Kaleidos Sci-Fi Green. I love the eyeshadows and I particularly love this deep black. This is like the blackest black eyeshadow in my collection and you know, it's absolutely not going anywhere. The Natasha Denona Gold palette and the Natasha Denona Lila palette are also not going anywhere. I love these on their own merits, and I also love using them as singles when I'm building custom palettes. The Flower Beauty Jungle Lights palette is not going anywhere, and it's pretty much because of this shade right here. This is one of my all-time favorite eyeshadows. I reach for this palette like an unfair amount compared to my other palettes just to put this shade all over my lid. I use it so much. It's like this stunning sort of silvery pink, really, really rich and creamy. And I find that it's kind of like neither warm toned nor cool toned, if that even makes any sense. It's so pretty. I want to put it all over my eyes like right now. And it's weird. It's not even like there's anything intensely unique about it. The quality is very good. I really like the way that it applies, but it's not like you can't find shadows like that anywhere else. And it's not a duochrome or anything or a multi-chrome. I think there's just something really gratifying about the combination of this color with this super creamy formula and the big fat size of the pan. There's just something about it. All right, process of elimination. I'm definitely not going to give away the Persona Identity 2 palette. I find it to be one of the most useful pre-made eyeshadow palettes of all time. It's just so versatile. It covers so many bases. And I very often reach for this when I just need something. If I'm doing an eyeshadow look with something else and I'm like, oh, I need X, I'll often end up reaching for this. The formula is really good too. Okay, these are the four that, it's not like I'm gonna declutter all of them, but they're the four that I don't have as strong feelings about keeping as I do about these ones. I am going to keep the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. I'm never attracted to these like ketchup and mustard color stories in eyeshadow palettes, but I actually find myself reaching for this much more frequently than I expected to. I go into this kind of like warm, light bronze a lot. I often use this shade, Awakening, on my brow bone. And I really, really love these mattes. I really love these kind of like ruddy mattes. So I'm gonna hang on to this one. I've been sitting here for kind of a long time just thinking, and I'll tell you what I've been thinking about. I have not been imagining that I would want to declutter the Alter Ego Artemis palette because I reach for this a lot when I'm trying to dupe the vibes. I think it's because it's got these blues and greens in it. And a lot of times when something comes out on the market and I look at it and I'm like, wow, that's alluring me in a way that's different from the things that I usually use and the things that I have. I don't have anything like that. A lot of times it's because it has like these blues and greens, or sometimes these like really grungy, swampy greens. And I just don't feel like I have all that much eyeshadow that has those shades in it. And so then I dupe the vibes and I go looking for shades like that and I find them in here. So I was thinking when I came to this declutter, oh, I definitely want to keep Artemis because it provides this whole realm of eyeshadows that I don't really have. But I just decluttered my single shadows and I have a lot of those colors in my Adept singles, like these blues, shiny blues, matte Prussian blue. I know that I could probably dupe the vibes of this palette like 100 times over with my singles. So that makes me feel like maybe I can let it go. But I just don't feel like I have that many palettes right now. Like I don't feel like my palette collection is busting at the seams. And so I don't want to get rid of it just because I happen to have some other shadows that are similar to it. I actually feel kind of inspired by this palette, by like having it and looking at it. And so I think I'm going to keep it just because I would just be decluttering it to say that I did. Like I'd just be decluttering it to declutter it. I feel like between it and me, its time hasn't really come. So that was what I was sitting here thinking about. And it's a roundabout way of saying that I'm going to keep this one. I don't think I want to let go of the Daydream palette either. I haven't used it as much as I was using it when it was new. When this was sent to me in PR, I used it almost exclusively for like months. I just found it to be so useful, and I got a variety of things. I could get a really glam look from it, but I got a lot of really easy to wear day-to-day looks from it. And I do go into it to pull the little magnetic pans from time to time when I'm building larger palettes. Again, it's like it's not my beloved right now, but I just don't feel like its time has come. The Nabla Cutie palette, though, its time might have come. And it's because there's something about these mattes. They're like kind of crumbly on the surface. It's like they've developed crumble surface, crumble pan, as opposed to hard pan, you know? When I dig into them and I rub my finger around in them, they kind of melt and they get really creamy. And I am you can see kind of the wetness, the wet creaminess in that. And I'm such a sucker for that. And oh my gosh, did you see how that sort of smeared? That is why this palette has made it through so many declutters. But in practice, when I go to use it, and I actually had a very recent experience with this because it was the final palette in my advent calendar of makeup I already owned. So I opened it on the last day, the 24th, and I used it on that day. And what happens every time happened, which is that I look into it and what I want to do is to build a look out of this shadow, no doubts, because it's so gooey and delicious. But in order to turn it into this lovely smeary thing, I have to warm it up with my finger, and then it's like something that's very kind of not goopy, but damp. Like it really is damp. And then it's sort of difficult to blend out on the eyes. Like it doesn't blend like a powder. And to actually get this effect on the eyes, I have to kind of build it on my eyes, and then it's tough to blend around the edges. It's tough to get a smooth blend around the edges. So the thing that I'm keeping it for, which is the swatch, is not actually the effect that I'm getting on my eyes. And when I try to get it, it doesn't blend well, or it's kind of awkward, a little bit patchy, or it builds up so much that it kind of like recreates its crumble pan on my eyes. So every time I look into it, I want to use that. I feel disappointed. There's also kind of crumble pan on the black, even though it swatches beautifully. And so I struggle to use it to deepen up the outer corner the way that I like to do with the black. And so what I always end up doing is just a single all over the lid look, just with Seducer. And it is beautiful, and the look is beautiful every time, and I'm not mad at it, but I don't need to keep this whole palette just to get a look with this. Like I could get the look that I get with that one shadow with a bunch of other singles that I have and shadows that I have. I'm pointing to the Daydream palette because there are some in there that would get me that same exact look. This is all just to say, oh, and one more thing. I didn't miss it when it was gone. I didn't even notice that it was gone, and it was in the advent calendar for an entire month. So its time has come. Okay, so again, this one will go in the back, and there it is. That's my entire collection of palettes. This is how it looks when I'm sitting at my vanity. It's time to do lips. This is in the wrong place. Oh, you know what? Before we do lips, let's look at the rest of my eyeshadows actually, because That was palettes and singles, but I also have like little free floating singles. I forgot to include them. Okay, these are all of the littler than palettes eyeshadows, although the Rowan ones are quads. And actually, maybe I should, now that there's more room in my like palette storage, maybe I should start keeping these there because I love them so much. It's like some of the best makeup that I've ever had, some of the most perfect for me, and some of my favorite makeup that I've ever owned. But when I put them away in the acrylic drawers, I tend to forget about them when I'm sitting down to do my eyeshadow. I would like to keep them more handy. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. I am going to keep the Rowan quads. I love them all. I'm going to keep Victoria Beckham Onyx. It's brand new. My friend Simbri gave it to me for Christmas. But I am going to let go of this L'Oreal Infallible shadow in Eternal Black. Yeah, Eternal Black. It's basically like the drugstore version of the Victoria Beckham. I like it, but it doesn't have the creaminess that I was always hoping that it would. I'm so happy with the Victoria Beckham version. I don't feel like I need them both. I am, of course, going to keep Tom Ford Naked Bronze and the Danessa Myricks Color Fix Foil in Milky Way. I'm going to keep this Rowan single, this Disco Eye. And I thought when I started laying these out that I would let go of this one, which is the Ariatum Shine Fix Eyes in the shade Romantic Floor. But as soon as I lifted this little thing off of it, I was like, no, I'm keeping it. And I am going to keep it. And, you know, another reason to keep it is that I just decluttered that Nabla palette. And this is another shadow that replicates the eye look that I would get with the one shade that I always ended up using from that Nabla palette. So all of these are going to stay. Yeah, I was able to put the little Rowan quads in with my eyeshadows. I was able to put them in that palette storage thing. And I'm not sure I want to keep any of these in these drawers anymore. I feel like they get forgotten in the drawers. Now that there are just 5 of them, I feel like I might actually be able to find a spot on my vanity where I could just keep them. Like I could just put them there like that together on the vanity in a little group. And then I'll remember to use them more often, or like that. That's what I'll do. I'll put them like that. I'll put them like that in a little group somewhere on top of my vanity. And I'll really enjoy having them there. I think they'll look beautiful and it'll make me remember to use them more. Okay, lips. I think that I think I'm going to be kind of disorganized about this. I think I'm just going to take everything out, all of the lipsticks and glosses all together, and then I'm just going to put them all back. And when I put them all back, I'm going to assess each one as I go and see if there are any that I can let go of. This is a tough category for me because this is a category where I feel like I have the most excess. Like I feel like it's busting out of my storage and I don't like that. But I also really, really love lip products. And also a lot of them tend to come in PR. Like this is a category that for me, it's been a lot harder to kind of keep it under control, given that I do accept things for review from time to time. With palettes, it's been a lot easier with eyeshadows because it's easy to just lightly test an eyeshadow formula or a palette and then give it away. It's a little bit harder to know what to do with whole collections of lip products or with just a handful of lip products. They're harder to sanitize and they're in some ways harder for me to part with, and they technically take up less room. But if you keep keeping them and keep keeping them because they take up less room, then they start taking up more room. So I'm just going to lay everything out on the table and do my best. This is in the wrong place, but this is a single eyeshadow product that I am actually happy to let go of. It's the Glossier Sky Wash in the shade Echo. And I got it to test, but I never use it. It's perfectly fine. It's okay. It's okay. I just never really use it, and I don't need it here taking up space. This is another thing that I actually think I'm going to let go of. It's the Illamasqua Sealing Gel. It's a little liquid that turns powder shadows into liquids. And it came in PR. I tested it. It was perfectly fine. And I haven't thought about it since then. And I don't really need this kind of thing. So I'm going to give it away. Okay, I believe that everything is in frame, and it has started to rain, which is very unusual for Los Angeles. I hope that if you can hear the pitter-patter of rain on the leaves, that it is just comforting and adds ambiance to the video. So again, I'm not doing that thing where I, separate out all my reds and all my nudes and all my things and like, see how many of this do I need, all my glosses and stuff. I'm not doing that. I'm just going through, it's kind of like a rapid fire sparks joy principle kind of thing. I'm just going to keep the ones that I feel like I love, and I am going to let go of any that kind of present themselves to me as being ones that I can let go of. But this is in the wrong place. It's actually a lip liner. This is pretty new to me. It's the ZC lipstick from the Picasso collection. I've actually been keeping this out on my vanity, and I look at it every day, and I love looking at it. I love having it there. Erin's Faces lip gloss. This is in Sunnyside. I find this really, really useful for finishing a look because it's clear, it has no scent, and it is really shiny. Clarins Instant Light Natural Lip Perfector. I grab this a lot when my lips are feeling kind of crusty. It smells like cotton candy, and I love that. I'm also going to keep the e.l.f. Ride or Die Lip Balm. It's nice and rich and thick. I'm actually going to keep this Cosmetics lip cushion. It almost didn't make it through the reckoning, but I have been wearing it since then. I've continued to test it, and even though it's kind of thick and pigmented and shiny, I love the finish. I love the way it looks on camera. There's just something about it. It's kind of sultry. These are some gorgeous bullet lipsticks that I really love. I'm going to go ahead and fill this container with bullet lipsticks that I really love. Actually, this one's too long to fit comfortably in there, but I'm going to put the shorter bullet lipsticks that I really love all back in here. Here's one that I can let go of. So this is from Lancome, and my friend Simbri sent this to me in a care package. It is a beautiful, rich color. I mean, like, you can tell, if you know my taste, you can tell why she thought of me. I kept it through the reckoning because I was like, it's so gorgeous. And I never really reached for it. It has a very old school lipstick finish and smell. I have a number of lip products that are, in this realm, kind of this color, because I'm so attracted to it. And so I just feel like it's kind of extra. I'm going to let this go. I keep my Glossier Vanillic lips back here, and I definitely want to keep all 5 of them. That's one of my favorite lipstick formulas, if not my favorite lipstick formula of all time. So just now I was reaching for cream bullet lipsticks. I was trying to put only things that are either cream or matte, that are like, opaque, into this little container. And now I'm going to separate out all of the bullet lipsticks that have sort of like a shiny or semi-sheer finish. This one doesn't, but, well, maybe? No, it's too short to go in there. Here's one that I can let go of. I love the color of this Erin's Faces lipstick. It's in the shade Nancy, but I've had it for a couple of years, and the last time I went to wear it, it had that kind of crayon smell. I think that it started to go off. don't think I need to keep this. This was a little, mini, like a sample size mini of the Ilia Balmy Gloss. It's a beautiful product. I don't like these dinky little minis. And I've gotten to the point where when I place orders from Sephora, which I really rarely do, I rarely put a thing like this in my cart because I just don't want to deal with it, even if it's something that I would like to try. And it's for this reason. It's like, I like it. It's totally fine. It's just, I have all these beautiful full-size products, many of which I bought with my money. So I'm not going to value this as highly. And this is another thing. This made it through my declutter, the Lila B Lovingly Lip Tinted Lip Oil in the shade Be Remarkable. It is really pretty. And, I said in my reckoning that I had tested it with a Q-tip because I didn't want to sully it. And I really liked it and I decided to keep it. And then I put it back in its box and I haven't been able to bring myself to break it out and use it because I have so much and I just want to give it away brand new. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Change my mind. I love the Ofra Gloss and Truffle. I've been wearing this a lot lately. It's so beautiful. I think I want to put some lip glosses in here and maybe put some, you know what maybe I'll do? Maybe I'll put these M Cosmetics products in here because I love them so much and I just always forget to wear them. But I feel like if they were all consolidated in a drawer like this where I could open it and see all the shades side by side, for some reason standing them up in this kind of thing doesn't work as well for me. I'm going to put them all in here. And then I'm going to put some glosses in here. This is a gloss that I've almost panned. It's the Urban Decay Hi-Fi Shine Cushion Gloss in the shade Naked. And I purchased this pretty early on in my first budget year. So it's almost exactly 2 years old. And it's pretty much panned. Like, I know it's hard to tell because it's on the, maybe you can kind of see, but I've been scraping the very bottom of it. So I'm going to go ahead. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and call it on this. I just have so many beautiful things here, so many beautiful lip glosses. And I have been wearing this faithfully, like several times a week for the past couple of weeks, kind of trying to get as much out of it as I could, like trying to get good use out of it. And for the past week or so, it has been very, very gummy and I haven't really been able to get a full thick application. So even though, I could technically still like maybe warm it up and really work on it. And well, it doesn't have really a stopper you can pop out. It's hard to call it with stuff like this. Like you can't get total pan like you can with an actual eyeshadow that you pan. I think there just comes a point when you have to be like, you know what, its life is over. And I feel like that point has come with this. These chunkier gloss products, well, this isn't a gloss, but these chunkier, and it's not even chunky, it's just beautiful. This chunky type of gloss thing, I tend to keep sitting up on my vanity. And I think I'm going to pull this one out and sit it up on my vanity as well. It's also 2 years old. It's the In Beauty lip glaze, and I really do love it. Like it's very, very indulgent and juicy and gooey, but I think I probably need to do what I did with the Urban Decay with it and like work on totally panning it because its time is probably coming up. So I'm going to start keeping that on top of my vanity as well. So here's what I decluttered from that round. This wasn't a lipstick, it just was in the wrong place. And this Illamasqua liquid as well was in the wrong place. And then I let go of these 5 things. So this one was very old and pretty much done. This is brand new. I decided not to even start using it. And then these were just like 3 littler guys. So it's funny, it was only these 5 things. And, they're pretty little and this one's pretty skinny, but I feel like I've gotten a lot of space. I don't feel like this collection is busting at the seams anymore. It feels much more reasonable to me. And it might also be partly because I reorganized it. But this is great. I feel good about this. These are all my liners. I kind of go back and forth about whether I want to keep my lip liners and my eyeliners separate. I've recently started keeping them together. I do really like it when my lip liners are separate though. I think I might go back to separating them out. Maybe I'll store them. I have this little glass cup that I sometimes put bobby pins in. Maybe I'll put some of my lip liners in there after today. I started keeping these NARS crayons. This used to be one of my favorite formulas, and I mean, in theory, I would say that it still is, the NARS Velvet Matte Lip Pencil. I started keeping it with my liners in the hopes that that would cause me to remember to use it more. And you know, technically these can be used as liners, especially if you sharpen them up really sharp. I have the shades Famous Red and Pussy Control, but I still have not been remembering to wear them, and I wish I would. I mean, it's not going to cause me to declutter them right now. I would still like to renew my efforts. I really love them, but they have been languishing. Maybe I should pull them back out and not keep them with my liners anymore. Okay, here's the thing, y'all. I love lip liner, and these right here are some of my most worn, most used makeup products from the entire year. I just can't even see one that I haven't used like crazy. Well, the ones that I use the least are the red leaning Charlotte Tilbury lip cheats. I use Bond Girl a lot, but you know, I'd kind of been using Walk of Shame whenever I needed a red before I got this red. I guess I haven't used Savage Rose that much, but it's still not telling me like, Hannah, my time has come. You know what I mean? Like I think this is great. This is a great little collection of lip liners for me. I'm just going to keep them. And yeah, for the time being, I'm going to put them back in here. With eyeliners, it's kind of a different story. I don't feel like I need all of these. And actually, this isn't an eyeliner. It's a little brow flick pen, but I do use this from time to time. I'm going to hang on to it. Wait, why do I have two color slides in the shade Brack? I didn't know that I had both of these. Thunder just crashed ominously. Glossier color slides are multiplying in my collection. You know, I don't need both of these, and eyeliner, that's something that's pretty easy to sanitize. You just give it a good sharpen. I'm going to clean up one of these and give it away and just keep the other one. Okay, I'm keeping this. But I'm going to give these away. These were a gift back in the day. I think someone had decluttered them and then sent them to me. It's the Linda Halbert, what are they called? Magic crayons? I can't remember what they're called, and I don't want to look it up. One is shiny green and one is shiny blue, and I just never use them. I feel like sometimes I do want a pop of color, but for some reason it's never this that I want. Why? But you know, yes, okay, this is why. This is why I'm giving this one away. It looks like a forest green, but it's actually a teal. And teal leans blue, and I just never want like a shiny blue eyeliner. I just never do. I'm not going to keep this either. I've had this forever. It's the ABH Metallic Luster Liner in liquid gold. I've had this since before I started my YouTube channel. And I did try, I made a good faith effort over the past month or two. I put it in my waterline a couple times, and it always just didn't look quite right. I haven't used it in a long time until I recently tried it again. So I don't need to keep it. Okay, my eyeliner collection is down to this, and this is, you know, good to me. And this is just a shadow stick, but I really, really love it. This Kiko Milano shadow stick. And I keep it in here because it helps me remember to use it. But this is like right for me. A really good black, a really good brown, some like a winey brown and a winey red, and a taupe, and you know, this kind of like funky peacocky, grungy peacock. This is perfect. This is all I need. Shall we look at the cheek products again? I actually did a deep declutter of them recently, so I don't think I'm going to do a lot, but I might be able to do a little. And actually, starting with rose milk, I'm going to give rose milk away. I kept all 3 of these in my initial cheek declutter, and what I suspected might come to pass did indeed come to pass, which is that I only ever want to use these 2. So I don't need to keep this one. Oh, and you know what else I've been thinking about? I think I'm going to give away the River Bronzer. It's so beautiful, but I have kept a number of powder cheek products, and I kept them all because I loved them with the passion of 1,000 burning suns when I was doing that declutter. I opened them all up and they really made me feel warm and fuzzy inside. And so in that moment, I just passionately kept them all. And then since then, in practice, I haven't really used them as much as I thought I would because I thought that I had like a renewed passion in that moment. This is just a roundabout way of saying that I think I can cull a little bit the powder cheeks that I was afraid to cull in that declutter video. And I think that of my bronzers, this is the one that is the least ideal for my skin tone because it's the least close to being a blush. The bronzers that I tend to use a lot are the ones that kind of look like blushes, like the Kevyn Aucoin. Yeah, like the Kevyn Aucoin bronzer is almost indistinguishable in the pan from these Lancome blushes, especially Miel Glacé. So I love this. Whenever I want like a real bronzy bronze, I go for this. It's got that real red undertone. And this is in beautiful condition. And I know that this is a really highly coveted product. So I'm going to give this to someone. Oh, and I think that yes, I've been so excited to show this to you. Look, y'all, look what I did. I finally panned the Holika Holika New Drop Lumi Cheek in Bronzed Honey. Anything else? This is in the wrong place. I feel like after that declutter I did, oh, there was one more thing I thought of. I'm gonna also give away this ZC liquid blush. When I was watching them all out in that video, I was like, it's so pretty and I love liquid blush so much. And then literally a day later, I was like, I should have just decluttered that ZC blush. It's just when I have these beauties and I have like, still some Glossier Cloud Paint and Dusk to get through and these beautiful cream cheeks, you know what I mean? I think that I can part with this. This is in the wrong place too. But that's it. Those are all of the things that I wanted to circle back to in this cheek category. So these are all of my highlighters, blushes, and bronzers. And they're all liquids and creams and powders all together. This is everything. Okay, let's look at these kind of messy boxes of stuff. And these I definitely am just going to kind of glance through. I'll probably be able to tell pretty quickly if there's anything, although I might have some foundation reckoning to do. These boxes get kind of dirty because they're in the top of my vanity. I know that that looks like it's still dirty, and it is, but it's just because it's a dirty box now. It's just a box. It's not like an acrylic container or something. And these are permanent stains, but it's fine with me. Not everything can be nice. This is a mascara. It's in the wrong place. I love this primer, I'm keeping that, but I think that the Yensa Tone Up, let me see how we're doing on this. I am not gonna keep this. I've kept it through so many declutters, I've made good progress on it, and I just keep using the ones that I truly love. This, the VDL Lumi Layer Primer, the Glossier Future Dew, and it's just gotten to the point where I'm like, I feel like I'm dragging it along. I'm gonna keep my concealers. This I need to use up, but I don't think that it makes sense to declutter it. It's the YSL Touche Eclat, and I've had it for a long time, and I've used it almost completely all the way up. Yeah, this is a good reminder. I need to get to work on this. Here's another empty though that's mixed in here. The Sephora Bright Future Green Color Corrector. This is my holy grail color corrector, although we all know there's nothing like grail. But when it comes to green color correctors, this is mine. You know, I say it's an empty, but I think I can probably get 2 or 3 good uses out of it. So I'm going to keep it in here and just finish it up over the next 2 or 3 days. But I did want to show it to you. It's pretty much done. Or as Joe would say, it's done for. I'm going to hang on to this foundation stick. I love the finish, even though it's a little bit pink for me. I'm going to hang on. Well, I'll put that with the other stuff. Should I put the eye primer? Where's my other eye primer? These are my 2 eyelid primers, the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion and the Alter Ego Eyeshadow Base. I'm going to hang on to them. Hang on to this powder. This is like a slightly more luminous powder, and the Givenchy one is a slightly more mattifying and kind of color correcting powder. So I do use both of them. But y'all, I don't know what to do. I don't feel fond feelings for this Urban Decay foundation. I do feel fond feelings, or I did feel fond feelings about the Morphe one. And then I was using it for a couple of weeks, and then every time I looked in the mirror later in the day, it would seem kind of like dry on me, or it's like it didn't wear well throughout the day on me. I think I'm just going to keep these and keep playing with them and keep asking myself questions about them, keep updating you guys on my reviews of them. I am not trying to push myself in this declutter. The intention is not to get rid of as much as possible. It's just to kind of do a light sweep. And because my feelings aren't clear, I'm just going to keep them. Okay, this is a situation that's a little bit out of control. The mascara situation. I have always been a person who feels like one mascara at a time is enough, and I'm still that person. I still feel like one mascara at a time is enough. The thing that has gotten me into this situation is reviewing mascaras. Being a person who reviews makeup on YouTube. Mascara is the hardest thing to both review and keep an edited collection of, because I feel like a mascara kind of matures over time. It like evolves over time. So to give a really good review, or to feel like I know what I'm doing with the mascara, I need to use it for its entire life cycle, right? 3 to 5 months, maybe 3 to 6 months. And once I start using a mascara, even if I just use it once, I can't give it away. I can't donate it to a women's shelter. I can't give it to a friend. I can't give it to Julia. You know what I mean? So I have to either choose, when I get a mascara in PR, I have to either choose to go all in, to review it for the full 5 or 6 months, or to give it away completely untouched. And I like reviewing mascara because I have strong feelings about mascara. It's a kind of makeup that I really love. It's the kind of makeup that I feel like I wear even if I'm wearing nothing else, pretty much. A little concealer, a little spot concealer, and a little mascara is sometimes all I have on my face. And so lately, I've leaned into reviewing the mascaras that come my way. The long and short of it is that I am testing and using all of these mascaras, and I don't think it makes sense to falsely usher any of them out of my collection just because I happen to be doing this end of year sweep of my collection. It's just, this is my mascara situation now, and that's fine with me. It is what it is. This primer, Simbri gave this to me because she knows that I really, really love it. I think she must have gotten it in PR, the Clarins SOS, the green one. I'm going to keep that, but it was in the wrong place. I'm going to put it with like base products in this little box. Some brow products. I have the Glossier Brow Flick, the Glossier Boy Brow, and the M Cosmetics Brow Gel. And I have actually been using all of them along with my soap for my brows. This is what I have for my brows right now. And then there's that little, where is it? Oh, I bet it's in with my brushes. The little brow pencil from the ZC collection. I bet it sneaked into a brush cup, but I'm going to keep it too. It's been working well for me. So that's that, but I'm wondering if it makes more sense to store these base products in this acrylic container, which is a bit bigger, and to see if all the mascaras will fit in here. I'm going to try that. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna put the bottle of Morphe Hint Hint Skin Tint up on my vanity standing up straight. I do like to do that with little glass bottles, with little dropper bottles like this. I have this Glossier Wowder that I'm reviewing. I haven't reviewed it yet on camera. I haven't talked to you guys about it yet. Sometimes I have store credit at Glossier if people use my, it's like a link, it's like a customer referral thing where you get $10 off and then I get a little bit of store credit. And I use it to get things for review that I haven't tried from Glossier. And this is one of them. It's pretty good. It's pretty good at blurring fine lines, but I'm gonna go ahead and put that with the powders. I'm gonna hang on to it. Listen, I love all of my glitter and I want to keep it all, but this little sample size of Crystal Tokyo was kind of dried out recently when I tried to use it. It was in my advent calendar. And I think that the seal just isn't as good on these samples as it is on the full size. I've had it for 2 years and it's just not really as workable anymore. And then this is just stuff that's been on my vanity, the Glossier Face Mist, which I use for soap brows, 2 of my favorite primers, or I guess my 2 favorite primers, the VDL and the Glossier, and the Flower Beauty Seal the Deal Luminizing Setting Spray, which I have been loving. I'm gonna keep all of these. Okay, y'all, here is what I'm decluttering from my quick end of year collection sweep. So it's 19 objects, 19 pieces that are heading out of my collection. I'm reducing my numbers by 19 here at the end of the year, which is pretty modest when you consider that I'm literally looking at like all of the makeup that I own, everything that I have. And then these 6 things over here, I separated them out as all things that I'm letting go for practical reasons. So you know, these 2 because they're empty, this one because it was new, it's like essentially something that didn't actually make it through the reckoning, and then these 3 because they aren't performing well anymore, they've kind of like aged out, or there's something about the formula, right? And so that just leaves these ones where I'm kind of like, you know, they're just at the bottom of the barrel for me, or I have other stuff that's similar that I like better. This is the stuff that I've kind of whittled out of my collection in the traditional decluttering way. I'm going to proceed now to count all of the makeup that I am keeping, everything that's left after this declutter. I'm going to do that on camera. That'll be my next video. And I'll compare that to the count that I took at the beginning of the year and see if I actually did end up with less makeup or not. But whether or not I actually ended up with less makeup, I'm glad that I ended up with less excess makeup. Less makeup that I felt like I could declutter. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you for being here. And I hope that you are remembering to take extra good care of yourself, because that is what will make you the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.